Okay, let's get started using Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom Classic. The very first thing that you have to do in order to use this program is to create your own catalog. You cannot be in this program unless you are in a catalog, and you need to be in your catalog. So I'm going to show you how to create your own catalog and talk to you a little bit about important things to remember about this. Number one rule, and I'm just going to say this one and then get started because I don't want you staring at the blank screen. The number one rule is you are going to create one catalog for this entire semester. And even if you have more than one class where you have photos going on, I know you're probably only taking one photo class, but you only need one Lightroom catalog for all of your classes, for any other class or any personal photos, anything, just one catalog. I know that seems kind of crazy, but that's the way I'm going to try to insist that you work, and you'll see why as we move along. Okay, so if you don't have a catalog, you can't launch from your catalog. Remember, I launched from that actual file that I found in Ideal Student. So we have to launch from Lightroom itself for now. And let's just see what happens. It's a little bit different when you launch from the application. Now, a lot of different things could happen when you launch from this application. I'm going to try to show you some of those different scenarios. But hopefully one of the option that will come up is it'll come up and say, what do you want to do? In this case, there are some catalogs on this computer. And so it's saying, do you want to open up one of these catalogs? Well, I don't, because I want my own catalog. So I actually want to create a new catalog. So I'm going to click here. And I'm going to immediately be prompted whether I'm on a PC or a Mac. It's going to prompt me to name it, and it's going to prompt me to say where it goes. And where it goes is so important. I can't overemphasize this. You want to figure out where you're going to put it and pretend like it's the key to your heart. You need to know where your Lightroom catalog is and keep it there. Okay, so I'm just going to name this Sarah's catalog. You can name it anything you want. As long it's your catalog, it's the only one you're going to have. Because it's a file, we try not to have spaces. I'm not sure if it's going to like that apostrophe, but we'll go ahead and try it. And this is the most important thing. I have to figure out where I'm going to put it. A little different in a PC, but here I go down and I want to actually put it onto my hard drive. And this is absolutely, if you're using an external hard drive, put it on your external hard drive and leave it there. Very important. If you're putting everything on your computer, you can have it there, but it's really almost always preferable to have it on your external. And again, we'll get into more of that as we go. So I'm just going to click into Ideal Student, and I'm going to actually put it in all my photos, because that is where all my photos for classes are going. And I'm going to click Create, and it's going to launch my catalog. And it did like that apostrophe. I'm so excited. I must have said it that way. So it says Sarah's catalog up here, completely empty. And let me pull this down so I can show you where it went. I decided to put it into all my photos. So there it is. It says Sarah's catalog. It created a new folder just for the catalog. And it's going to have all these other little files around it. Just ignore them. Don't delete them. Leave them alone. Just leave them all in this folder. The only one you need to pay attention to is going to be this one, the LRCAT. When you click on it, it's going to have that Lightroom icon. That's all you have to worry about. But just to show you where that goes. Very important that you know where you saved it to. Otherwise, you're going to be like, I don't know, I made a catalog. Where is it? Okay, I'll make another catalog and another catalog. And trust me, it's not good. It's not good to have multiple catalogs. Okay, so it's a blank catalog, so we have to put photos into it. And this is where your folder structure is going to be really, really handy. Because we're going to start in this video just by bringing in the folders that are all the files that are already organized in your folder structure, and you'll see how easy that can be. So if you're in the library, you can see that you can import. You can't do much of anything else because you don't have any photos yet. But the import button should be active. click on import. And remember that when we import, now I'm going to show you some different ways that Lightroom operates, but much of the time when we import, all we're doing is telling Lightroom about photos that already exist and just telling it to notice them. So here, you notice Ideal Student pops up. I'm actually not going to import demo. I'm just going to import all my photos. And remember, this is the folder that we made last semester. It's not going to bring that in because those aren't photo files, but it just shows up there. So I'm just going to click on that folder. All of those pop up. And by the way, I went in and just threw a bunch of random photos into the everything else, and that's why you're seeing those there, just so that this would be a fully populated catalog, and you'll see what happens. So these are just photos that I put in. Now, up at the top, very, very important, and this is something that's easy to forget about. Usually when you do something like this, if you don't have a card attached or anything like that, it's going to default to add. And add is exactly what we want to do in this case. All we want to do is say, hey, Lightroom, I put these books on the shelf, and now I want you to recognize them so that I can find them through my catalog. So we're just going to add them. These other ones we're going to get to. I hardly ever move, but we will in the next video. I'm going to show you a thing where you copy them. Okay, but right now we're adding photos to catalog without moving them. So all of them are checked. We're going to bring all of them in. And again, don't be tempted to just click on one and bring it in because that's all you want to play with. Bring everything in, please. Just bring it all in. It's much easier to delete and rearrange and do everything when you get them in. So don't try to do that. Don't worry about this button for now. This is file handling. There's a couple of different areas that come up here. And you notice here, we just have the two windows. In the next video, you'll see there's another option, but right now it's very simple. You don't need to worry about any of this now. Later on in the semester, I'm going to show you how to use some of this, but it might be handy to just click on Don't Import Suspected Duplicates. And I usually keep that on all the time, and I think you'll see why. Then we click the import button and we sit back and wait. It shouldn't take it too long for these, but while we wait, I want to point out a few things. So notice that up here at the top, it says import files at their current location. And that's what it's doing. It's saying, I'm just leaving them there. And this is the progress bar. So right now it's bringing them in. If you're doing this, since I'm doing this on my external hard drive, it's really important that I don't unplug my hard drive while I do it. It needs access to that. The second thing that I want you to notice, and I'm just going to go ahead and click this close for a second. So this is going into Ideal Student, all my photos. You notice this little triangle over here. This means that there are, because it's solid, it means there's more files. When I open it up, I see everything else in photo 29. And when I open up photo 29, I have those same three folders that we created before. And when I open up everything else, we have all of these folders that I went ahead and populated it with. I'll close that one up. So if we look, I'll continue on that. Let's look before we get started on a couple other explanations. Let's just look here. And what I want you to notice is because we're importing everything in all my photos, right? Everything from Ideal Student from all my photos. We have everything else, same files, photo 29, same files. It's not importing this because there are no photos in there, and it's only looking for photos. So all of this is identical. The other thing I want you to notice is because I did not ask it to do it, it is not importing the demo photos. They're on my hard drive, but we cannot see them in Lightroom because I did not ask it to bring them in. So it only looks at what you want it to look at. Okay, so everything, all of the files are now imported into the Lightroom catalog. That is, Lightroom has now recognized all of the image files that I asked it to recognize. It's added it in. What it's doing now is it's building previews. And this is sort of like it's building a little catalog entry for us so that we have the right amount of information. And this takes sometimes about as long as it does to import the folders. There's different sizes of previews. We're just doing standard. While it works, though, you can go ahead and start looking at the images. Now, I want to just go back down into, oh, ignore that. That was not for us. I'm just going to go back down into 20 photos. One thing I want to point out is I went ahead and took the liberty while I was rearranging this of just putting 5 photos, just making that subfolder. So some of the photos I moved out of here. Some of them I moved into abstraction just for fun, and some in 3 ways, just so you can see, put the cat in 3 ways, just so you can see these populated. And that's why some of them are not in this normal folder. Couple things about the way this works. It's a little different from the way that we look at file folders outside of Lightroom. So for instance, let's just close this up. If I go into photo 29 here, it doesn't actually show me the photos, right? It shows me the folders. And we have to just keep going before we start to see the files. In Lightroom, it's kind of an interesting way to do it. If I click on photo 29, it shows me everything that's in all of the folders, right? Everything that's in all of the folders, 20 photos, 5 favorites, abstraction in 3 ways. If I want to just look at these, so for instance, if I just want to look at these, it's going to have the 20 photos, plus it's going to have the 5 favorites. So those are all in there. If I look in here, it's going to just have the ones in abstraction, and this is just the cat photos. So it's a little bit different, and I'll give you more information on how to navigate that later. Once I'm in 20 photos, I can do all sorts of fabulous things with it. We're going to get to most of those fabulous things later, but let me just show you a little bit of navigation, and then we'll move on to the next video. So right now we're in grid view. So you can see these little icons down here give you different views. This is the grid view, so we can see all of the photos. Now, if I expand this out, if I could do this, there we go. I also have the ability to change the size of the thumbnails, make them bigger or smaller while I'm in that grid view. Okay. I can also, if I've clicked on, say, any single photo, let's click to this one, I can look at it as a single photo, just like that. I can also, let's go back to grid for a second. I could also pick several photos, and this is just like we've done in when we were doing folders. I can just grab the Shift key and select a few, and I can look at all 3 of them to compare them. There's a couple other ones that are a little bit more specialized that I'll leave for now. Before we go on, though, before I finish up this video, I'm going to point out a lot of this stuff later, but I did just want to point out, let me go ahead and minimize this window just a little bit. Just take a look whenever you're in a new module, at what is available. So you notice that here, this I'll explain more later. We have the catalog, tells you what's in the catalog. This is your folders. These match the folders that are outside. And these are collections, which we'll get into later, published services, which we'll get into later. On the right side, we actually have information about the individual photos, including its exposure information and some things we call metadata, some of which are already in there, time, all sorts of date, all sorts of stuff. And there are options to add in other metadata, which again, we'll get into later. Okay, that is the catalog. I'm going to let this finish up. And in the next video, I'm going to show you a different way of importing directly from your memory card.